Good evening, and welcome to a meeting of the Chesapeake School Board. A printed agenda is available in the back of the room if you wish to follow the business items we'll be discussing this evening. Roll call, Dr. Smith.
Mr. Elijah Colon,
Here.
Miss Melita Huddle, Mr. Mike Lamonia,
Here.
Mr. John McCormick,
Here.
Mr. Norman Poole, Mr. Daniel Stoller,
Here.
Mrs. Amanda Walker,
Here.
Mrs. Kim Scott, Vice Chair,
Here.
Mrs. Angie Swigert, Chair.
Here. The next item is the adoption of the agenda. Does the superintendent or any board member wish to add or delete an item from the agenda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No amendments to add to the agenda, but we will need a closed session for student matters, legal matters, and personnel matters.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Ms. Huddle. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Poole. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
We will now go into the closed portion of our meeting. I'll ask Vice Chair Scott to read the language to take us into closed session.
Yes, Chair Swigert, I move that the board should convene in closed session pursuant to the Code of Virginia, Section 2.22-3711, subsections A1, A2, and A8, for discussion and consideration of personnel matters related to the performance of specific employees and the selection process for hiring a new superintendent, student disciplinary matters, and consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Lamonia. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
Before we move into closed session and in accordance with Bylaw -233, we will need a motion to approve the remote participation of Sands Anderson attorneys Nikki Chook and Whitney Nelson Crawford, who will join us for the discussion in closed session. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Mr. Lamonia. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Colon. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
We are now in closed session. Vice Chair Scott, would you please read the statement to bring us back into open session?
Yes, Chair Swigert, I move that the record shows that the only items discussed in the closed meeting were those specifically cited in the motion to convene into the closed meeting and those lawfully exempted from statutory meeting requirements.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Lamonia. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
Thank you. At this time, I will entertain a motion regarding the appeal under School Board Policy 9-21.
In regards to the appeal of the superintendent's decision pursuant to School Board Policy 921 and in reference to Student 1, I move to support the recommendation of the superintendent.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Poole. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
Next, I will entertain a motion regarding the personnel recommendation pursuant to School Board Policy 8-04.
In regards to the grievance hearing report provided to the board pursuant to School Board Policy 8-04 and in reference to Employee 1, I move to uphold the recommendation of the hearing officer.
Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Lamonia. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
There being no additional items resulting from the closed session, we will move on to the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I'd like to call upon Pastor Reese Ward from the Bridge Christian Fellowship Church to provide tonight's invocation. Afterward, I'll ask Freddie Hughes, a fifth grade student from Cedar Road Elementary, to lead us in the pledge. Please stand as you are able.
Lord, thank you for this opportunity to confer as fellow citizens of the city of Chesapeake about how to best pursue education for the students of the city. God, I pray that you would grant the school board wisdom and you would grant parents and students wisdom and peace, God, as they all work together to seek out the best measures for the kids of the city, God. We thank you that your Holy Spirit is present here, even as we gather, and we pray that that everything would be to honor and glory your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Ward. Thank you, Pastor Ward, and to Freddie and your family for being here, and also to Principal Page. We appreciate all of you joining us this evening. There being no awards and recognitions tonight, we will move on to the first public hearing for the superintendent's proposed capital improvement plan. Dr. Smith, are there any citizens who've requested time to speak under the public hearing section this evening?
No, Madam Chair, no citizens for the public hearing portion of tonight's meeting.
Great. In that case, we will move on to the hearing of citizens. Dr. Smith, are there any citizens who've requested time to speak under this section this evening?
Yes, we have 6 citizens signed up tonight.
Thank you. During their allotted time, speakers should observe our rules of decorum and know that expressions of concerns and criticism on matters of school policy and operations is welcome. However, speakers must deliver their own remarks and may not play pre-recorded messages. I want to thank those speakers who have signed up to address the board this evening. As a reminder, you can address the board in you can sign up to address the board in one of 2 ways. You can request time to speak by calling the clerk's office before 12 noon the day of the meeting, or sign up to speak prior to the start of the meeting in person. All in-person requests to speak must be submitted to the deputy clerk at least 5 minutes prior to the published meeting start time. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. Once your allotted time is over, we ask that you promptly exit the podium. We would also like to ask that you refrain from any behavior that disrupts the meeting, including the use of profanity, applause, cheering, or jeering. Dr. Smith, please call the first speaker.
Yes, speaker number 1, I'd like to invite you to the podium. Speakers are called in numerical order and are asked to state their name and city of residence before they begin.
My name is John Molitor, and I live in Chesapeake. I'm the father of 3 children in Chesapeake Public Schools. 2.5 months ago, I challenged this board in Hickory High School to stand up to bigotry and bullying. I spoke with Dr. Angela B. Swigert and Dr. Donna Weingan, 2 high-ranking officials here in Chesapeake. I told them how a group of men and boys called my son F-A-G-G-O-T and gay boy in front of dozens of people at a volleyball game at Hickory High School. I provided at least 2 names of the bullies. I told them to do something about this public humiliation of my son. It has been my experience that public officials do an amazing job of collecting money, status, and power, but do very little to help the average person. Dr. Swigert and Dr. Weingan did nothing to change my opinion. In fact, they enforced my opinion. Does anyone know what the punishment is for Chesapeake for publicly tormenting a gay child? Well, I'll tell you what the punishment is. The punishment is a ban from any future volleyball games. That was the punishment to the leader of the bullies. The others received no punishment at all. So telling a young man he can't go to any games that he had no interest in going into the first place is the punishment for being a vicious homophobic bully. Wow, I sure hope I don't do anything wrong in Chesapeake. I bet you are wondering, Dr. Swigert and the board, how I found out about the incompetence and the empowering of bigots in this town. It was easy. The bullies you failed to punish have been empowered. They are laughing because they received no punishment. They are laughing at the city of Chesapeake. They are laughing at you. They are telling everyone what a joke this city is at protecting homosexual children. You know the worst part? They're right. This place is a joke. You told me, Dr. Swigert, that you care about my son. You told me that you take this very seriously. I received harsher punishments when I was in school for being late to class. I received detention or maybe even suspension. But for this vicious bullying, nothing is the punishment. You are insensitive and cruel, and so is Dr. Weingan. So I will end my vain pursuit of justice. It is a waste of time with you, Dr. Swigert. It is a waste of time with this board. But I will end my fruitless waste of time with 3 rhetorical questions. I will provide the answers because I already know them. First, I ask you to resign for your utter failure to protect children who are different from the majority. Will you do it? No, you won't. Because your greed for money and power outweighs any regret you have for what you did to my boy. Second, I ask that if some boy is not as strong as my son and the public humiliation that he was subjected to causes that boy to commit suicide, I ask you to have your words reflect your actions. When I was a teenager, a friend of mine killed himself because he could not deal with the consequences of being gay. So don't tell me, Dr. Swigert, that this type of bullying could not possibly lead to death. I know from experience it does. If a boy dies because he cannot deal with this type of public bullying that you utterly failed to address, I want you to say, good, I'm glad he's dead. I do not want you to lie and express false remorse. I do not want you to say to that child's parents that you did to me.
Mr. Molitor, your 3 minutes are over. It is not our practice to engage in dialogue. but I cannot let you stand with that. I have never spoken to you directly on this matter. It is absolutely incorrect. No, sir. You have not spoken to me. My phone number is not accessible.
Speaker number
Speaker number 2.
It's your
That is
turn at the
false.
podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin.
I'm a retiring naval officer, but I speak in a personal capacity tonight. I am transgender, a parent of 5, and opposed to the new pronoun policies. I lament, after a lifetime of service, the powerful desire to discriminate among my fellow citizens. Why, I ask, are grown adults so interested in inflicting intentional pain on others? Disrespect has consequences, real consequences. Transgender people who do not receive equal treatment are 3 times higher to attempt suicide than transgender people that are treated equally. So I have to ask, what hate compels people to write these policies? And why do we value the freedom of the bully over the freedom to protect and nurture? And why do the personal beliefs of some outweigh the advice and evidence of every major medical and psychological association in the world? I know firsthand what institutionalized discrimination does to a person. It's soul-crushing. I was scheduled to take command of a guided missile destroyer on December 5th of this year. I worked 18 years to get selected for that job. I was and am exceptional at what I do. But I will not be taking command in 2 weeks. Instead, I will be a civilian. And what changed? I told people I was transgender. I ask you in all sincerity, what teacher actually wants a transgender child to go home and cry in their pillow every night? The tears you cause will not untrans them. I know because I have cried them. And what teacher wants to be so unconscionably rude to their coworkers that they would cause them to go home and cry at night? Your rudeness will not untrans them. I know because I've heard the words. I prayed for almost 30 years to not be trans, and yet here I am. We are who we are. We cannot pray it away. We cannot plead it away. We cannot cry it away. If you could do it, I would have already done it. Trans teachers and students deserve basic respect, or what were those 4 overseas deployments I endured for? I now have less rights as a transgender citizen than you, the people that I have protected. We are worthy of your amity, not your animus. Transgender people are a naturally occurring human variance. History is riddled with trans stories. My favorite trans writing was written by a rabbi and a trans woman in the year 1321. That was 704 years ago. We are not new. We are not a fad. We are not your punching bags, and we are not going away. We are worthy of respect and dignity, just like all of you. We are beautiful and flawed, just like all of you, and just like all of you, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. I beg you, as a true patriot, to make our public schools, these temples of American freedom, a place where all students can come and worship. And if there are any transgender students watching or here, you have value and you matter. Thank you.
Speaker number 3, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin your remarks.
Hi. My name is Cindy Garner. I'm a citizen of Chesapeake. My pronouns are she, her. I apologize. I've been a Chesapeake resident since 2021. I have 2 children enrolled in Chesapeake Public Schools, and I am a small business owner. I woke up this morning, got my youngest child ready for school, got her situated, and then sat down with my coffee to scroll social media for a little bit. When I opened my Facebook app, the first thing I saw was a news article from 13 News Now. I clicked on the link and it read, Chesapeake School Board to consider new policy on pronoun use for students and staff rights. I went on to read the Chesapeake School Board will discuss a policy limiting pronoun use to sex assigned at birth for students and affirming staff rights on Monday. As a queer woman who regularly donates money to various LGBTQ+ organizations throughout our community, who aims for inclusion and respect for people and their identity and pronouns, always, I was appalled. To read this in the middle of Transgender Awareness Week, which runs from November 13th to November 19th and ends by celebrating the Transgender Day of Visibility, the timing of this proposed policy either seems intentional or very tone-deaf. Using people's preferred pronouns isn't a hindrance on them, their environment, or their learning. Using people's preferred pronouns saves lives, promotes mental health, well-being, safety, and validates them. There are teachers within this district who have expressed use of preferred pronouns different than one that we may assume at first glance, and not one time has that negatively impacted my children in any capacity. In fact, I am excited when I see that my kids have an educator who is part of the LGBT+ community, because what better way to learn to be inclusive than to practice it? I wrote individual emails to all 8 school board members today in opposition of this new proposed policy, and only one person, Malia Huddle, responded, and also let me know that she too opposes the new policy change. In a time in this country where there are a number of other incredibly more important things to worry about, I ask that enacting a new policy which sets students and teachers up to be discriminated against be taken off the table. After all, according to the Chesapeake Public School Student Handbook, quote, students have the right to a free and appropriate public education, unimpaired because of gender, race, religion, national origin, disabling conditions, or intellectual ability. Thank you for your time.
Speaker number 4, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin.
Good evening. My name is Amber Bomer. I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia. I am speaking here today not just as a resident of Chesapeake, as a mother of a student and a graduate of one of our wonderful schools in Chesapeake, but also as the president of Pride in the Peak, Chesapeake's Pride event that is specifically for youth and families here in Chesapeake. I am also a licensed school counselor in a neighboring school district. So I come with the information from the U.S. Department of Education, which says that schools should be a safe and healthy environment in which America's children can learn, develop, and participate in instructional programs that promote high levels of academic achievement. Now, our own Virginia Department of Education says that a school's environment can enhance social and emotional well-being and learning when it prevents bullying and harassment and promotes positive or pro-social interactions. Research shows that a safe and supportive school environment improves attendance, academic performance, graduation rates, and relationships, as well as teacher retention, which I know is a huge issue across the United States. In regard to preferred pronouns and names, Chesapeake Schools' own model policy currently already addresses this, giving parents and legal guardians the final say in this matter. I know this because as of last year, I used to work for Chesapeake Public Schools. I know what our model policy says. Perhaps for some, the use of they, them feels maybe grammatically wrong. I understand. It sounds weird, but I can assure you that it has been used in a singular form for a very long time in our English language. Great writers such as Chaucer and Shakespeare have been using it since the 1300s. But at the heart of this issue, it's not about grammar. As you've heard tonight, it's about respect. And with that respect comes literally life-saving issues. It's a small thing, and what this policy does is singles out a small fraction, a minority of students. For what? Ask yourself, what is the why? Because respect for students is what builds a safe and supportive environment where all children thrive.
Speaker number 5, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin.
My name is Helen Vanderbilt. I'm a resident of Virginia Beach. I'm a grandparent to Chesapeake students and a retired teacher from Chesapeake, and I'm continuing where I left off last time. Give students the time they need or only grade what is attempted within a test. The biggest concern about testing policy in Chesapeake high schools is parents being denied the ability to come into the school and see their child's test, especially if the student fails so they can figure out where the struggles are. Parents and teachers are supposed to be a team working together to ensure the success of the student. Specifically, this case where a student was enrolled in one of the academy programs, students in these academies have to maintain a B or higher average in STEM classes. The student was struggling in one class, so the parents attempted to ask by seeing the test so they could find out the struggles and were told, no, you can't see the test. The parents contacted the school administration and were still denied the right to see the tests. 2 weeks before the beginning of this school year, the parents were informed the student was removed from the academy and were told there was nothing they could do about it. Ultimately, the parents contacted the school board, and 3 members saw a problem with this and forwarded it to the superintendent. The superintendent did send an email back to the parents stating they could go before board and present their complaint. But at this point, the parents have no faith in Chesapeake Public Schools listening to anything a parent has to say. The superintendent also stated he agreed with the removal of the student from the academy because all the academy rules were followed. He didn't address the lack of testing transparency. The student passed the SOL test for that subject, so the teacher, the school, and the district got the only thing that it seems is important to them. The student, whose parents couldn't get any help from the teacher or any of the administrative people in the school system, received a grade of C in the subject and was removed from the program, all because the district doesn't want parents to see their students' tests. I know not all teachers in Chesapeake are like this high school teacher. Most care about their students' success, but the fact that the teacher was allowed to refuse parents access to their child's test, and this decision was supported all the way up to the superintendent, is wrong. Parents should be allowed to see their students' tests. Students should be given the time to finish their students' test. Thank you for your time.
Speaker number 6, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin.
Good evening. I'm Caitlin Rittenauer, and I'm a resident and educator in Chesapeake. My pronouns are she, her, hers. Tonight, I speak as president of the Chesapeake Education Association, the union for all Chesapeake Public Schools employees. Tonight, you, the members of the school board, are considering several updates to the policy manual that have to deal with how educators present themselves at school. For those listening who haven't seen them yet, I will read the proposed additions. Employees shall refrain from compelling any staff member to address any employee or refer to any employee in a manner that violates the staff member's constitutionally protected rights. Employees shall refrain from providing to a student his or her preferred personal title or pronouns if such preferred personal title or pronouns do not correspond to his or her sex. Employees shall not compel any student to address any employee or refer to any employee in a manner that violates the student's constitutionally protected rights. There are 2 main concerns here. The first is that based on legal precedents, these policies are discriminatory and would not hold up in court. Educators, if you feel you are being targeted because of your preferred personal title or pronouns, please reach out to your CEA building representative or the CEA office, and we will connect you with legal resources. The second concern is that at a time when morale among educators is low and getting lower, this is not a way to show our employees we value them as people. If we want to retain and recruit the highest quality educators, we cannot vote for policies that make them uncomfortable, even afraid, every time they introduce themselves to a coworker or student. I ask you, the members of the school board, to vote no on these proposed policy changes. Please show your educators that they, as people, are more important than whatever title or pronouns other people are comfortable with. On a happier note, we are excited to celebrate American Education Week this week. The National Education Association began American Education Week to encourage public support for public education in response to data that showed that 25% of World War I draftees were illiterate. The first American Education Week was celebrated in 1921 to honor and recognize the education support professionals who support, nourish, and protect public school students. This week, your Chesapeake Education Association is excited to celebrate our educators with a pizza party open to all educators at Major Hillard Library this Wednesday beginning at 5:30. CEA members will also be able to pick up their special American Education Week gifts. Please come out to spend time with your fellow educators and share ideas about how CEA leadership can support you this year. In this, the longest week of November, I want to say thank you to every educator in Chesapeake. No matter your role, you matter. What you do matters, and our students will remember that for a very long time. Thank you.
This concludes our speakers for this evening.
Thank you for sharing your comments. Our practice is typically to receive information and not engage in dialogue, and that is our intent tonight, despite my engagement earlier. If appropriate and not already provided, someone from the superintendent's staff will evaluate your concern and provide a response. We will now consider the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion for approval. So moved. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Poole. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
We will now move over to the information agenda. The first item this evening is the accreditation and accountability update. Dr. Joppi.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, members of the board, Dr. Cotton, and Cabinet. As always, board members, we are thankful for your continued commitment to ensuring that our school division remains a division focused on excellence, growth, and continuous improvement. And tonight, we are pleased to provide an update on our school division's accreditation and accountability results. As you know, the Virginia Department of Education is still in the process of finalizing statewide results, and we anticipate further updates as the state continues its review and verification process. In the meantime, we want to ensure that you have the most current information available regarding our performance, our progress, and the work ahead. To share these details, it's my pleasure to introduce our Director of Assessment and Accountability, Ms. Danielle Henderson-Jones. She and her team have worked diligently to analyze the preliminary data, monitor the state's review timelines, and prepare a brief overview for the board this evening. At this time, Ms. Henderson-Jones will walk us through where our division stands in the accreditation process and what we can expect as the Virginia Department of Education finalizes accountability results. Ms. Henderson-Jones.
There we go. Thank you, Dr. Joppi. Good evening, Chair Swigert, Vice Chair Scott, members of the board, Dr. Cotton, and cabinet leaders. This evening, I am pleased to provide an update on the data currently available to us and the status of the information we are still awaiting. What we currently know. As shared during the previous board meeting updates, our pass rates show that our students are exceeding the state average in all content areas. Within the new school performance support framework, all of our schools will receive a framework score in the areas of growth, readiness, and mastery for elementary and middle schools, and graduation readiness and mastery for high schools. The points received from the framework score will determine the school's overall performance category. Schools that earn 90 points and higher will be in the distinguished category. Schools with 80 to 89 points will be in the on-track category. Schools with 65 to 79 points will be in the off-track category, and schools with less than 65 points will be in the needs-intensive support category. Based on the preliminary data that is available, 80% of our schools have a performance category of distinguished or on track. For the accountability year, Dr. Cotton certified through the VDOE Standards of Accreditation report that all schools within CPS were implementing the standards of accreditation. Based on the report that was submitted, all of our schools are preliminarily fully accredited. However, moving forward, the process will change. In addition to the superintendent certifying the implementation of the standards of accreditation for the district at large, each school principal will also document and report implementation of the standards of accreditation to the Department of Education. What we do not know. As mentioned in the previous update, we are still awaiting the finalized school performance support framework data, which tells us the school's finalized performance category. VDOE is using a third party to independently validate the new accountability system data and its outcomes. We are also awaiting federal identification data, which could greatly impact a school's performance category rating, and the supports that could be received from VDOE, such as federal funding and monitoring. Schools that are federally identified as targeted support and improvement or additional targeted support and improvement will have their performance category lowered by one level. As mentioned on the previous slide, we are still awaiting the final accreditation ratings. What we are doing in the meantime. While we are awaiting finalized data, we are still moving forward, ensuring building leaders understand the data they do have access to and how to use it to complement the current assessment data they are gathering through Mastery Connect. We have started meeting with school leaders to share and discuss preliminary data and speak to the tiered supports that will be provided, including feedback and support on the implementation of their comprehensive school improvement plan, as well as departmental collaboration focused on providing professional development on the alignment of the written, taught, and tested curriculum, as well as assessment supports for student groups. We will continue to keep the board updated, as well as provide supports to our school leaders as we await more information from the state. At this time, I'll be happy to entertain any questions that you may have.
I don't see any questions at this time, so thank you for the update.
Thank you.
The next item on the information agenda is the work session and update on the superintendent's proposed capital improvement plan. Ms. Stutz?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The initial presentation for the superintendent's proposed capital improvement plan for 2026 through 2036 was provided at the last school board meeting in October. Earlier this evening, we conducted the first public hearing for the capital improvement plan, and of course tonight we'll have a presentation and a work session. Dr. Pedro Martinez, our planning administrator, he will conduct the presentation, and then we will try to answer any questions that y'all may have this evening.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'm here to present the second public presentation of the superintendent's proposed capital improvement plan for 2026-2036. This plan represents our ongoing commitment to providing safe, modern, and effective learning environments for every student in Chesapeake. I will begin with a status update on projects, reviewing those we completed this past summer and those currently underway. I will also provide a brief update on the Central Athletic Fund projects. Following that, we will have a brief refresher on the key planning objectives that shape the CIP. Finally, we will focus on the core of tonight's update, the proposed projects for year one of the CIP, including their funding status and associated costs. I am now going to share with you the projects completed this past summer. To start, here is a picture of the new Crestwood Elementary School, which opened this fall. This modern facility is an example of the high-quality environments we want for all our students. The completion of the new Crestwood Elementary School was a major highlight of this past summer. This new facility replaces the former Crestwood Intermediate building, and its opening marks a significant milestone towards our strategic goal of converting our intermediate schools into K-5 elementary schools. Along those same lines, we also completed interior upgrades at B.M. Williams Elementary, which was the final step toward its conversion to K-5. Many other projects were also completed alongside those key conversions. This included playground replacements at Greenbrier Primary and Western Branch Intermediate, auditorium improvements at Indian River Middle and Western Branch Middle, and essential vestibule updates at Crestwood Middle. We also completed several major capital maintenance projects, including HVAC upgrades, roof replacements, and repaving. This included replacing chillers at Indian River High and Western Branch High, a partial HVAC replacement at Greenbrier Intermediate, the first phase of HVAC replacement at Thurgood Marshall Elementary, the first phase of roof replacements at Great Bridge Middle and Jolliffe Middle, and repaving projects at Greenbrier Primary, Rena B. Wright Primary, Western Branch Middle, and the second phase at Great Bridge High School. I also want to make a special note about the partial HVAC replacement at Greenbrier Intermediate. This project was originally scheduled in 2 phases, but we were able to complete the entire project in the summer of 2025. Now, let's look at projects that are currently underway. A key project shown in this rendering is the building addition at Southeastern Elementary School, which is progressing well. Here is a more detailed status on all our active projects. The Southeastern Elementary addition is under construction and on track to open for the 2026-2027 school year. Construction is also underway for the new elementary school at the Culpeper Landing site, which we anticipate opening in the fall of 2027. And finally, the building modification for the Edwards Wilson Center is currently in design and is expected to start construction by late spring 2026. Our major maintenance work is ongoing. We're currently in the second phase of roof replacements at Great Bridge Middle and Jolliffe Middle, as well as the second phase of HVAC replacement at Thurgood Marshall Elementary. The security vestibule upgrades at Hugo Owens Middle and Hickory Middle are in progress. Materials have already been ordered, and we anticipate the final install by the end of the year. This slide provides an overview of athletic projects funded through the Central Athletic Fund. On the left, you can see the projects that have been completed. They include lighting improvements at the stadium for Great Bridge Middle and Deep Creek Middle, lighting improvements at the fields for Jolliffe Middle and Greenbrier Middle, as well as bleacher replacements at the Great Bridge High School gym. Projects currently underway, shown on the right side, include lighting improvements at Hugo Owens Middle, track replacement at Deep Creek High, and design plans for ADA accessible fields at all high schools. Please note that we also expect to begin shortly on the design of 3 turf fields and track improvement projects, which were included in tonight's consent agenda. As I mentioned earlier, the next 3 slides are a refresher of the key planning objectives that anchor our long-range plan. First and foremost is the replacement of the Chesapeake Career Center. The current facility is over 50 years old and cannot support the modern instructional programs our students need and deserve. We propose using the district-owned site on Clearfield Avenue for this new facility. The estimated total construction cost is approximately $101.5 million. Our second key planning objective is the replacement of Carver Intermediate and its conversion to a K-5 elementary school. This facility is 73 years old. This project will not only give the community a new building, but also align its grade structures with our division-wide goal. As part of this project, we will also evaluate Portlow Primary for modifications to support its own conversion to a K-5 program. The total estimated cost for this project is $84.2 million. These 2 projects lead to our broader planning objectives. The first is to optimize the grade level structure in all our primary and intermediate schools, moving toward a K-5 model whenever we undertake a modernization or expansion when feasible. Our goal is to reduce school transitions during a child's formative years, which will help enhance both academic achievement and social emotional well-being. We are also actively exploring the establishment of new early childhood education centers. A study is underway with our colleagues in teaching and learning to address the growing demand for preschool services and determine both the instructional and facility needs for such a program. This brings us to the primary focus for tonight, the proposed projects for year 1 of the 2026-2036 CIP. As a reminder, all projects for the first 5 years of the CIP were presented at the October 20th school board meeting. The next essential step is in May, when the City Council considers and approves appropriations for the first year of the CIP. That final appropriation number from the city will determine exactly how many of these vital projects we can complete next year. The following slides will detail what we are proposing for that first year. In year 1, we have 2 major replacement building projects, both in the design phase. First is the new Chesapeake Career Center. As you can see, the design for this project is funded. However, I must clarify that, although the design funds have been allocated, we must wait for the city's final determination on construction funding before we begin the actual design process. The city's decision on construction funding will determine our timeline, and the projected opening date of 2029-2030 may change as a result. Second is the design for the Carver replacement and conversion to K-5. At this time, the design for this project is unfunded. It remains an essential objective, and we will continue to advocate for its funding. This slide outlines the critical major maintenance projects proposed for year 1. This work is essential for protecting our existing assets and ensuring our buildings are safe and functional. This includes a full roof replacement at Hugo Owens Middle and partial roof replacement at Oscar Smith High and Crestwood Middle Schools. It also covers a list of essential HVAC projects, including chiller replacements at Indian River and Western Branch Middle, a full replacement at Southwestern Elementary, as well as partial replacements at Jolliffe Middle, Oscar Smith High, Sparrow Road Intermediate, and Georgetown Primary Schools. The repaving for Great Bridge Intermediate is also included. Everything you see inside the yellow rectangles represents a project we expect to be funded through the $11 million annual fund provided by the city for major maintenance. The partial HVAC projects listed for Oscar Smith High, Sparrow Road Intermediate, and Georgetown Primary, as well as the partial roof replacements for Oscar Smith High and Crestwood Middle, are unfunded at this time but remain in our plan as identified needs. Now, I will briefly review the overall costs associated with the plan. This slide provides a year-by-year breakdown of the projected costs for the first 5 years of the CIP. As you can see, the costs vary significantly from year to year based on the specific phases of design and construction for the project scheduled. For the first year of this plan, 2026-2027, the total projected cost is $55,247,900. The total request for the first 5 years of the capital improvement plan is $621,595,000. This represents a significant but necessary investment in the future of our school division. Our next and final step in this process will be on Monday, December 8th. At that meeting, we will hold the public hearing and request for the board to take final action on this proposed CIP. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time and attention. I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
I see no questions at this time, Dr. Martinez. Thank you for the updates. The last item on the information agenda this evening is the proposed revisions to school board policies. Dr. Smith?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. As you're aware, we have several proposed policy revisions for the board's consideration. First is Policy 3-06, General Administration. That has been updated simply to reflect a new address of the school administration building here at 1421 Christina Way. The second policy is 4-35, Buildings, Grounds, and Equipment. Includes a reference to the applicable section of the United States Code just to ensure consistency with federal requirements. The third is Policy 8-02, General Personnel Matters, which has been revised at the board's request to incorporate provisions addressing constitutionally protected rights related to personal titles and forms of address. And finally, Policy 9-20, Student Conduct, has been updated to align the definition of bullying with the current language in the Code of Virginia. I believe we're adding cyberbullying to that definition. Copies of all of the proposed revisions are available in board docs for your review, and if there are no concerns, these items will be placed on the consent agenda at the next regular meeting.
Ms. Huddle?
I believe that we, as school board members, have a duty to ensure the safety and well-being of all of our students and all of our employees. The policy regarding pronouns, in my opinion, sends the message that we place the comfort level and rights of one group of students over that of another. I am not comfortable sending this message. While schools are not, as many note, a place for indoctrination, as some would allege, they are also not a place for invalidation of our fellow humans. I would request that that item be moved from consent to action agenda.
Thank you very much. I'll make that note.
Are there any additional questions or comments at this time? Thank you. We will now move to the action agenda this evening, and our item to consider is the proposed calendar options. Over to you, Dr. Smith.
Thank you very much. Earlier this year, we provided two options for the academic calendars for the upcoming 26-27 and 27-28 school years. We also provided the results of a community survey to assist the board in determining the most appropriate course of action. Tonight, we have attached in board docs both of those presentations that you've already seen, along with the two options being considered. Based on community feedback, we're recommending option A, which maintains a post-Labor Day start for the next two academic calendars. If the board is agreeable, we are requesting final action this evening so we're able to plan moving forward. Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Ms. Scott. Is there a second? I'm going to go with Mr. Poole, even though I heard several. This is the point if there is any final discussion on the matter, if anybody would like. Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes. Thank you so much. This completes my item.
There being no additional items on the action agenda tonight, we'll move on to the superintendent's report. Over to Dr. Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. Just a couple of announcements before I get to my spotlight this evening. November is Family Engagement Month and Native American Heritage Month. And as a reminder, schools and offices will be closed Wednesday, November 26th through Friday, November 28th for the Thanksgiving holiday. I don't think I need to remind everybody of that, but I will, just to be sure everyone's aware. Now onto the spotlight. It's hard to believe that we are already halfway through November and already on the brink of the holiday season. I always enjoy this time of year because so many exciting things happen in our district, and those are in full swing. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my spotlight tonight as I highlight some of the awesome events and activities that have happened recently. It's been almost a month since I last shared a spotlight, and since then, our district has held 3 major college and career readiness events. Our 8th graders had the opportunity to attend the Worlds of Work Career Expo and participated in hands-on demonstrations to explore potential career fields. Our College and Career Readiness Department hosted the first ever Envision Night, an event dedicated to showcasing the academies and specialized programs offered to students in our district. Finally, we capped off a busy month of October with our annual College Fair. Hosted by Indian River High School, our high schoolers were able to talk to college representatives and learn about potential higher education opportunities. The resources and experiences we give to our students and their families are tremendous, and I'm proud of the amazing work done to put into these events. Thank you to everyone who contributed to all of these special events this month. The Chesapeake Public Schools Educational Foundation hosted a big event of their own in October with the annual Jim Roberts Charity Golf Tournament at Riverfront Golf Club. I was able to attend this year's tournament, and I was thrilled to see all of the participants who showed up to take advantage of the beautiful fall weather. Based on all of the smiles, it looks like everyone had a terrific time. I am appreciative for all of our community partners who helped support this year's tournament, as well as everyone who signed up to play and support the foundation. Funds raised will go directly to support our students and staff. From sunny days on the golf course to November cold fronts, students at Crestwood Elementary are learning all about weather patterns. Using their very own outdoor weather station, the 4th graders at Crestwood have been recording daily weather data to determine patterns and see correlations between changes in their recordings and the weather we experience. With winter weather approaching, I'm sure the Falcons will have their eyes tuned in to the data, and they'll be on the lookout for any big changes heading our way. Thank you to everyone at Crestwood for making this cutting-edge science opportunity possible. Just as our students are observing patterns in the weather, we also take time to observe and engage with the patterns and priorities that shape education across Virginia. Last week, I had the chance to participate in the annual legislative breakfast with members of the Chesapeake delegation from the Virginia General Assembly. Of course, alongside our school board, we celebrated our students' accomplishments and discussed key priorities, including expanding opportunities for learners and enhancing programs like the Chesapeake Career Center. These conversations and partnerships are essential as we work together to support every student's needs. With Veterans Day occurring a week ago, our district has been busy celebrating the impact of our military-connected students, families, and employees. I'm so grateful for all of the people who do such hard work in meeting the needs of our military-connected communities. Our schools go above and beyond to not only assist, but show appreciation for the sacrifices they make to keep us safe. During November, our schools celebrated and honored those who have served by hosting Veterans Day events. From parades to special breakfast celebrations, it was so nice to see our schools demonstrate their commitment to supporting members of our military. I'm also very proud that our school district has once again maintained 100% Purple Star status, an award that demonstrates how hard our schools have worked to serve our military families. Thank you to all of our schools for putting in such a great effort in showing how much we appreciate our military-connected students, families, and employees for their service. With the holiday season right around the corner, Nichelle Buffalo from Buffalo Family and Friends and Lisa Carey from our Office of Family and Community Engagement sat down for our most recent podcast episode to share ways this partnership supports our families during the holiday season. I encourage you to tune in to hear how we're supporting our communities and learn about ways to volunteer during the holiday season. You can listen now on any major streaming platform. Additional community resources and ways you can help others can also be found on our website. Finally, to wrap up tonight, I want to give a shout out to our October Power of the Peak honorees. Our Power of the Peak Employee Recognition Program returns for another school year, and I recently had the opportunity to surprise our first round of winners. Congratulations to Rolanda Murray Hall from Oscar Smith Middle School, Ernie Stokes from Butts Road Intermediate, and Dina Otwell from right here at the School Administration Building on their well-deserved recognition in our 3 categories: support, teach, and lead. I always enjoy seeing the surprise and excitement when we show up, and I can't wait to honor more of our employees throughout the year. Anyone can nominate a Power of the Peak winner. So if you know a deserving recipient, please visit our website. This concludes my spotlight for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cotton. Next on our agenda this evening is board member items. Does any board member have an item to bring before the group? I will say, I'm going to give it to you next, but before we do, I do want to wish a very happy birthday to Dr. Austin, who is celebrating his birthday today with us. We hope you have a nice evening and are able to, celebrate maybe later this week. Ms. Scott?
I just wanted to say that I appreciate all the comments tonight. You're certainly heard. I do believe that coexistence and respect for everyone is possible without forcing others to participate in gender ideology and forced pronouns. It's not kind or respectful to refer to students or staff or any individual as bigots or homophobes because they choose not to participate. I think we can all have mutual respect. That's a two-way street. Freedom applies to all of us and respect applies to all of us. And in full transparency, I will be voting to update that policy. All right.
Are there any additional board member items at this time? Ms. Scott, if you would.
All right, Madam Chair, before we adjourn this evening, I move that the board reconvene in closed session under Section 2.2-3711, subsection A1 of the Code of Virginia to continue our earlier discussion on personnel matters, including the evaluation of specific employees and the process for hiring a superintendent.
Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. McCormick. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
We are now in closed session. Vice Chair Scott, would you please read the statement to bring us back into open session?
Yes, Chair Swigert, I move that the record shows that the only items discussed in the closed meeting were those specifically cited in the motion to convene into the closed meeting and those lawfully exempted from statutory meeting requirements.
Was there a second? Second. Moved by Vice Chair Scott, seconded by Mr. Lamonia. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
There are no items resulting from this closed session, so I now declare this meeting adjourned.